inverse trig function and a trigonometric function. So we're going to have to be very, very careful with the quadrants that we're in, and you're going to have to be somewhat familiar with your unit circle. So if you need it still, if you're not mastered the unit circle yet, you might wish to have a unit circle kind of sitting out on the side here. So this problem's asking for the sine inverse of the tangent of 3 pi over 4. So tangent of 3 pi over 4, let me draw a quick sketch here. 3 pi over 4 is the one that is located right there. If you're referring to it on the piece of paper, it's the one that's in the, oh sorry, no it's not. It's not the one that's there. It's 3 pi over 4, my error. 3 pi over 4 is the one that's located over here. 3 pi over 4 is in quadrant number 2. So you might recall that its coordinates are negative rad 2 over 2, comma, positive rad 2 over 2, and therefore the tangent is the ratio of those, which would be negative 1, the sine over the cosine, or the y over the x. So using that red marker at 3 pi over 4, you could figure out that the tangent of 3 pi over 4 is negative 1, and so this problem is really asking us for the sine inverse of negative 1. So now in orange, let's figure out where the sine value is equal to negative 1. The sine equals negative 1, the y value equals negative 1 when we're down here at the very bottom of the circle. So that angle measure is of course 3 pi over 2 radians, but we're only allowed to use the values from negative pi over 2 to pi over 2. So instead of reading that as a 3 pi over 2, we interpret this as a shorter distance of negative pi over 2 radians. So we give a final answer here of negative pi over 2 radians based on the unit circle and our knowledge of trigonometry. Okay, so why don't you try, hopefully don't make an error like I did initially, but try to do this next problem here on your own. Okay, find the exact value of the cosine inverse of the sine of 7 pi over 4. So pause the video, give it a shot on your own, and assuming you gave it a shot here, the cosine inverse of the sine of 7 pi over 4, to figure out what sine of 7 pi over 4 is, let's draw ourselves a quick little picture. 7 pi over 4 is going to be located, let's do this in red, 7 pi over 4 is located in quadrant number 4. It's located right there. So the x value is positive rad 2 over 2 and the y value is negative rad 2 over 2. So the cosine inverse of the sine of 7 pi over 4 and the sine of 7 pi over 4 is negative square root of 2 over 2. Okay, so that means now we need to find an angle whose cosine is equal to negative rad 2 over 2. Now of course in the standard unit circle there are two places where that happens. They're both going to be over on the left hand side. We're going to have one over here and we're going to have one over here. So the arc cosine, or the cosine inverse by choice, takes on a value that is in either quadrant 1 or in quadrant 2. So among those two choices, the one that we're going to take is not the one down here in the bottom. We're going to take the one that's at the top in quadrant 2, and that angle of course would be 3 pi over 4. So the answer to the arc cosine of the sine of 7 pi over 4 is 3 pi over 4.